Hi guys, you're Romy from Musa, and I want to share with you a revelation that I've had recently regarding the nature of unfairness, the nature of cruelty in the world and ill fate, nature of destruction, of pain, the nature of suffering. Why is that in existence? Why does that exist in the cosmos? And what I got, because I really truly think that when you ask, it is answered always, whatever you're asking, and you will get a download of your question. You get an answer from your inner being, from your higher self, from your guides, from the cosmos. You will get an answer. That's why I always encourage people, ask your own self. And if you need guidance around that, you have people either like me or other people that work in this and trying to translate what energy is saying around you. But it's really fascinating and it's super satisfactory because it's like a knowing. And I've been studying and asking around the nature, the origin and the nature of evil, and of things that just sound too sad, too cruel to accept. And I think a lot of people are having a lot of issues with this right now. There's a denial that there's like, I can't handle it kind of attitude. I choose not to believe something that just makes me so uncomfortable, because if I believe that, then I have to accept that the world is not as benevolent as I thought, that the universe is cruel. And there is the innocence in all of us. The innocence is in all of us. We all have that child inside that resists growing, because growing is letting go. Growing, it means detaching from things and kind of standing alone, and that is super scary. Adulthood is a state of consciousness. Adulthood is not a number, and so it takes a metamorphosis to get to adulthood, and it requires a shedding, and it requires standing in the mud, like the Buddhists say, for the lotus flower to be able to grow. So that mud and that suffering doesn't really have a reason. It's just the nature of the fabric of the cosmos. And the fabric of the cosmos in terms of darkness is that it is there and is not to be qualified. It's not qualitative. It's neutral, and is not good or bad. And so the universe is not merciful. The universe does not have compassion for you or for anything, actually. Doesn't have compassion for the elders dying in nursing homes, doesn't have compassion for the children being abused or having to deal with really, really traumatic circumstances at home. It doesn't, and you know that. There's a part of you that wants to deny it because out of sight is out of mind, but when you look into it, it's always there. It's always been there from the time we were nomads in the caves till now. It's always been part of the tapestry, has been one thread of beautiful gold and one thread of just something different, something crustier. And so what's the message here? I guess my revelation was regarding the fact that what we perceive in the physical world as evil, as something unfair, as something too difficult to accept, because if you accept that, it just means that it just scares you. It scares people to face things that are super dark because they poop their pants. They're like, if I accept this, then I feel so threatened. I feel so unsafe, right? If the government is lying to me, if somebody's manipulating the government, if the agencies that have to protect me have been infiltrated by special interests and they might not be protecting me and my children, if the people who should be watching over the quality of our water supply have made decisions that kind of don't keep the standards as high as I would like. When you open up to all the possibilities of the thread of doom to be woven into every single aspect of your life, then it's too overwhelming, it's too painful, it's too scary. but it doesn't have to be that way. When you step into your inner power and when you step into your eternal nature and your creative nature, all of that I just said might even serve as fuel, because it's so gargantuous, the avalanche of threat that you can perceive from environment and from including personal suffering, this losing somebody, I don't know. I mean, it's just endless. The possibility for suffering, it's endless. And again, the universe won't stop it because you've already had a little bit of suffering. It's not going to give you more because you're such a good person and you're so in line with the rules, right? All those ancient dogmas that even if you're not religious now, they're imprinted in your cellular memory. So what do you do? How do you manage that? Because you will feel very small against the possibility of so much suffering, of unfairness, of so much destruction, of so much external control. I mean, what do? You cultivate personal strength. And that's not really that difficult. It's a simple thing to do. You just have to attune to it. And then from there, from understanding your eternal strength, you feel less threatened because you align with God's strength, or the universal source, right? Source is like a fountain that's everlasting. And so when you align to that and you're at the feet of that fountain, you totally feel like you have it, and that you understand that your journey has not started here and it's not ending here, and that nothing real about you can be threatened. This is a little bit of the Course in Miracles. They go on and on about this. Nothing real can be threatened. Only what's illusion can be threatened, right? And so that's super interesting to explore. But those knowingness and that strength comes from the intention to align with that, the investment of time and resources into cultivating that you can't buy that, and somebody cannot give you that. It's something that you work with, and that you ask, and that you cultivate, and that you nurture. And then when you are in there, you understand with strength that the universe is not merciful. It will not lift from you any suffering just because you're a good person, because you're obedient to rules or the rules of the church, or the rules of the government, or the rules of your doctor. It doesn't exempt you from anything. Actually, sometimes the more you follow that, the weaker you become, because you've plugged into so many different things. You're financing so many different thought forms outside of you, that then your energy is diluted into financing all of that, and not really you being filled up with original kind of source energy, the energy of creation, the one that you have to tap into. And I know this is a very confusing concept, but basically the bullets are the following. The universe is not merciful. Evil has existed from the very beginning of creation, and it wouldn't even be called evil as in evil is bad. It's just is the polar opposite of whatever love is there. Whatever joy is, the polar of opposite is there. Whatever peace is there, on the other side there's anxiety and desperation. There's always a balance of the yin and the yang, the north and the south. And so it's always there. If there's no contrast, you wouldn't even be able to see me. This is the contrast. There is darkness, there is something lighter, and so there is light and there is dark, and it's part of the cosmos. And so darkness is not necessarily bad, and light is not necessarily good. It's just a different frequency, and those frequencies need to exist for us to be able to experience reality. And so pushing against what's perceived as evil is not very productive, although I totally fall into the trap all the time. Kind of, I want to push away that which I find is it's a lie, or a hypocritical, or out of integrity, or whatever. That's a judgment, this is an assessment. I don't necessarily think that's productive. It's just, I guess, bringing light into something that maybe became too dark. But yes, what I want to say about this is remember this, to not maybe push so much against what you're perceiving as evil, because in a way you're financing it more. Darkness will exist. We just, I guess, need to understand that there's a reason above and beyond something that we might comprehend right now. There is a reason for the existence of darkness or dark forces. They have a role in creation, and they dance with the light forces, and they together in that process of destruction and evolution and creation is that life happens. The dance of life happens, I guess. I know this is kind of too philosophical, but I just wanted to share it, and brings light a little bit in terms of all of this, and especially for those people who think, when is my suffering gonna end? When is the suffering of this community is gonna end? Is the evil behind this rabbit hole ever gonna end? Like, how can somebody be so mean? How can somebody be so dark? Like, it doesn't have an end. Evil is darkness is as creative as light, so it can get more creative and morph and continue to morph into something different. It has a role, and divinity allows it for a reason. And that is what happens with our mind. Is so limited that because we don't understand it, we want to crush it, and that we do this to each other. I don't understand you, I want to crush you, and I also want to control you. And I feel like the power lies somewhere different. The moment you go into that mindset of like, because I don't understand you, you're a threat to me, and I want to squash you, and I want to control you so that I feel safe, you lost all of the power, and you're defending yourself from a non-attack to yourself, because really, again, back to the Course in Miracles, nothing real can be threatened. And if you're defending yourself from something, then you have felt attacked, and then you don't understand who you are. Then you forgot who you are if you are feeling threatened and attacked. Maybe too cosmic, but I hope it made sense. Un beso. Ciao.